DJ Mike C on the track.
Cause that be natural. Lady D. Looking tacky. I keep my game tactful.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm so nappy. Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
I ain't looking tacky cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fabu, I'm so nappy, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Y'all is children on that cartoon.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Airfros and Babyhairs, and thanks for joining me on this chat session. Today we will be discussing a few topics, so go ahead and grab a snack, get you something to drink on while we get into some things. Also, make sure to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button to help us grow, and be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 USC Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So, how is everyone doing? Hopefully all is well. Hope you are staying warm and dry and getting your water in. I'm fighting with this season. It is so draining for me. All I want to do is snuggle in my blankets and sleep every chance I get. But I'm trying to push through because we got ish to do. But anyway, let's get into these topics. So the first topic is on this federal court moves to drastically weaken Voting Rights Act. And this is from yahoo.com via the New York Times. And it says a federal appeals court on Monday moved to drastically weaken the Voting Rights Act, issuing a ruling that could effectively bar private citizens and civil rights groups from filing lawsuits under a central provision of the landmark civil rights law. The ruling made by the 18th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals found that only the federal government could bring a legal challenge under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, a crucial part of the law that prohibits election or voting practices that discriminate against Americans based on race. The opinion is almost certain to be appealed to the Supreme Court. The court's current conservative majority has issued several key decisions in recent years that have weakened the Voting Rights Act, but the justices have upheld the law in other instances, including a June ruling that found Alabama had drawn a racially discriminatory congressional map passed in 1965. The Voting Rights Act was one of the most significant achievements of the civil rights movement, undoing decades of discriminatory Jim Crow laws and protecting against egregious racial gerrymanders. But the law has been under legal assault almost since its inception, and courts' decisions through the years have hollowed out key provisions, including a requirement that states with a history of discrimination in voting obtain approval from the federal government before changing their voting laws. Monday's decision by the 8th Circuit, which centered on a case in Arkansas, found that the text of the Voting Rights Act did not explicitly contain language for a private right of action or the right of private citizens to file lawsuits under the law. Therefore, the court found the right to sue would effectively lie with the government alone. Should the ruling stand, it will remove perhaps the most important fact of the Voting Rights Act: the majority of challenges to discriminatory laws and racial gerrymanders have come from private citizens and civil rights groups. It will be a devastatingly near-death blow to the Voting Rights Act if it remains the law, said Wendy Weiser, director of the Democracy Program at the Brenham Center for Justice. Racial theories that would previously have been laughed out of court have been taken increasingly seriously radical judiciary. But Weiser said she would be surprised if this decision stands, based on decades of legal precedent and recent rulings by the Supreme Court, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act has been at the heart of many civil rights and voting rights decisions. The case in the Supreme Court ruling in June against Alabama's map was brought by a number of civil rights organizations. In 2013, the section was also used to challenge a strict voter identification law passed in Texas. Some conservative legal scholars heralded Monday's decision, saying it would prevent the Voting Rights Act from being used for political ends. Today's decision is a win for Arkansas and for the rule of law, said Jason Sneed, executive director of the Honest Elections Project, a conservative group. The Voting Rights Act, VRA, remains intact as a tool to prevent actual discrimination and disenfranchisement, but the FRA is not, and was never intended to be, a partisan weapon against democratically enacted election integrity laws and redistricting practices. The current legal debate over who can bring Section 2 claims took a significant turn in February 2022 when Judge Lee Radowski, a district judge in eastern Arkansas appointed by the President Donald Trump, found that only the Attorney General of the United States may bring suit to enforce Section 2. The decision was appealed to the 8th Circuit, which Monday issued 2-1 ruling largely agreeing with the previous decision and finding that the law did not explicitly provide for a private of right action. Did Congress give private plaintiffs the ability to sue under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act? Wrote Judge David Strauss, an appointee of Trump's. Text and structure revealed that the answer is no. Proponents of the law and its use by private citizens point to statements made by Congress in 1982 when the Voting Rights Act was amended. In a report that accompanied the changes to the law, the House and Senate Judiciary Committee said it is intended that citizens have a private cause of action to enforce their rights under Section 2. The 8th Circuit rejected that argument in its Monday's ruling, stating that the committee's report does not point to a single word or phrase in the Voting Rights Act in support of the conclusion that a private right of action has existed from the beginning. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act has faced legal challenges before. In 2021, the Supreme Court found that Section 2 could be used to strike down voting restrictions only when they impose substantial and disproportionate burdens on minority voters, but the court left Section 2 intact, and it has remained a crucial tool for civil rights groups, especially when challenging congressional and legislative district maps. The battle over voting rights has entered a pitch new phase since the 2020 election, after Trump tried to overturn the outcome with a campaign casting doubt on the integrity of the country's electoral infrastructure. Republican-led state legislators across the country passed laws adding new restrictions to voting. Sophia Lynn-Locken, director of the Voting Rights Project at the American Civil Liberties Union, who argued the appeal on behalf of the challenges, called Monday's ruling a travesty for democracy. For generations, private individuals have brought cases under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act to protect their right to vote, she said in a statement. By failing to reverse the district court's radical decision, the 8th Circuit has put the Voting Rights Act in jeopardy, tossing aside critical protections that voters fought and died for. Wow. All of this is going on, and it's like, why are all these committees in place, and all of these conservative groups and all of this going on when it comes down to voting. Anyway, so it says, according to Merriam-Webster Act, because this is a Voting Rights Act, right? The process of doing something, action, caught in the act, the formal product of a legislative body, is statute, an act of Congress. Also, what is a private individual? An individual who is not a public figure or in the military services. In the civil law of Louisiana, a juridical person governed by private law. Dictionary law, noun, the branch of law that deals with the rights and duties of private individuals and the relations between them, compared to public law. So what is public law? The law of relationships between individuals and government, a body governed by public law. Yeah, let me know what y'all think about this, and just to hear that, you know, this lady, what was her name? Sophia Lynn Lacken. Like, first of all, she sounds like a foreigner. But to say this is a travesty for democracy. And then she said that the circuit has put the Voting Rights Act in jeopardy, tossing aside critical protections that voters fought and died for. That is very disturbing to hear that, you know, people fought and died to vote, when in reality it's been so much going on behind the scenes to where it doesn't even seem like your vote actually counts to begin with. If they have to put all of these conservative groups together and all of these different protections and, you know, trying to make sure that they are not stealing votes or doing anything that's fraudulent when it comes down to voting. And it's like, why are all of these different things in place if, you know, everything is copacetic? Like, it just draws a lot of questions for me. But anyway, let me know y'all thoughts on that. Moving on to the next topic, and it says ADHD on the rise in adults. ADHD is increasing among adults, and this is from psychiatry.org. New research published earlier this month finds the number of adults with ADHD has been increasing. The study in JAMA Open Network found the rate of ADHD has been increasing among adults of all races and ethnicities. However, there was substantially lower rates of detection among minority, racial, ethnic subgroups. Rates of ADHD and rates remained highest for whites throughout the 10-year study period. The study, led by Winston Chung, MD, looked at data on more than 5 million adults and 800,000 children who received care at Kaiser Permanente, Northern California from 2007 to 2016. ADHD was 4 times more prevalent in children than adults. However, the increase in prevalence was much higher among adults. Among children ages 5 to 11, the rate of ADHD increased about 26% over the 10-year period, while the rate among adults increased 123% over the same period. Among adults, ADHD was more likely among men than women, younger adults compared to older, divorced or separated compared to single adults, people with higher incomes compared to lower incomes. After adjusting for demographic characteristics, people with ADHD were more likely to have emergency department visits and more likely to use healthcare services than people without ADHD. Chung and colleagues suggest the increase in ADHD among adults may partly reflect an increase in awareness among healthcare professionals and the public of ADHD in adults. The study authors also address the misuse of ADHD medications, particularly among adult-age students, to boost academic performance, noting that diagnosis seeking to obtain stimulant medication for non-medical use may be more common among white versus non-white patients. The study found adults who identified as students were at highest risk of ADHD diagnosis. Adult ADHD symptoms may include impulsiveness, restlessness, disorganization, and problems focusing, poor time management skills, and problems focusing on a task. poor listening skills, and trouble relaxing. Compared to children with ADHD, adults are less likely to be hyperactive, so the symptoms may be less obvious. ADHD symptoms can make everyday tasks more challenging and contribute to problems such as missing meetings or social plans, difficulty prioritizing, focus, and completing tasks. On the other hand, a recently highlighted in Attitude magazine, ADHD can also bring with it several benefits and advantages, including creativity, engaging conversations, skills, spontaneity, contagious high energy, and a willingness to take a risk. So with this being said, my thoughts are, I wonder why they didn't include these social media apps as a cause of adults developing ADHD. Because, a while back I was doing some research on the, drive and push for all of these different apps on social media, having all of these different things at your disposal at any given time. And one of the reasons were so that we could be less focused, not being able to pay attention for longer periods of time. Our attention spans are like very, very short. Once you are on these apps for certain amounts of time, over time, you get what I'm saying? So I'm wondering why these researchers weren't able to come up with that information as well, especially since it's been about 10 years since we had access to certain social media apps. And now you're seeing the rise in ADHD in adults, and you're not putting two and two together. So I was just wondering, but according to this, the apps don't have anything to do with why adults are now developing ADHD. But anyway, I thought that was just interesting to share. And the next person, I don't really know much about him, but this statement really just had me wondering. It says Burna Boy reveals he turned down $5 million to perform in Dubai because smoking is banned there. And this was from twitter.com via Daily Loud. And I thought that was very interesting that someone would turn down $5 million just because they couldn't smoke, Mary Jane. Yeah, that sounds like a problem. I think I could have stopped smoking for a couple of days, week, or whatever, however long it would have taken him to get there, perform, and leave. I think I could have stopped smoking for that time period, for that type of bag. But what is going on? That has to be some type of strong addiction. But there is no way I would have turned down $5 million just because I couldn't smoke. Let me know what y'all think about it. That's wild. Now on to the next topic. And it says Howard University now has the first HBCU figure skating team in the country. And this is from Essence.com. The Howard University figure skating team held its first practice in early October and looks forward to their official season as an intercollegiate skating team next year. Howard University is now the first historically black university in history to have an intercollegiate figure skating team. The history-making team was founded by Maya James and Cheyenne Walker, two Howard University students who have been involved in the sport since childhood and long to get back on the ice. U.S. Figure Skating reports. I just missed the sport, honestly, James said. I didn't really skate that much during the pandemic. I stopped skating for like 2 years as I was coming to college. I also saw a lot of the U.S. collegiate Instagram pages and how they went to competition and how The competitions look so fun and welcoming, she told the outlet. James and Walker did not know each other before connecting to create a team. It was during winter break last year that James came across an article about Walker, a fellow skater and Howard student. She reached out to Walker on Instagram and asked if she wanted to work together and officially established a figure skating club. When Maya reached out to me, I was so excited because I was speaking to other girls from figure skating in Harlem who go to Howard, and we would always speak about how we wish there was skating but didn't know how to go about it, Walker said. So when Maya was like, yeah, I want to start this, I was on board for sure because it's something that I wanted to see on our campus community. With little experience organizing a team from the ground up, neither knew where to start, but they were both motivated to bring skating to the school. They shared with U.S. Figure Skating. Walker, a political science major, drafted the team constitution and both worked to develop the club's budget and schedule. Getting the club approved by Howard and U.S. Figure Skating was a challenging task as they had to convince the university to fund the club and to embrace ice skating, which is not a Division I sport. The process took a full semester, but by the summer of 2023, Howard University figure skating team was officially formed, becoming the first intercollegiate team in the history of an HBCU. With James serving as president and Walker serving as vice president, the club began recruiting talented student skaters on October 7th. They held their first practice, and in February of 2024, they will take part in their debut competition at the University of Delaware. So I thought this was interesting to share. I do enjoy watching the skaters perform. I think it's a beautiful sport and they are extremely talented. So I will be looking forward to follow along with this whole ice skating situation. Hopefully I can see some of the competitions on TV if possible. But yeah, let me know y'all thoughts and congrats and kudos to them for getting it done. Yeah. So y'all, on this next part, it does get a little dark. We will be discussing Sean Combs. So go ahead, get your snack, get your drink, and take a hard swallow. Because we're about to find out some information about this man in question. So it says Sean Combs is accused by Cassie of RAPE and years of abuse in lawsuit. And this is from nytimes.com. In the suit, the singer says Mr. Combs, known as Puff Daddy or Diddy, subjected her to a pattern of control and abuse over about a decade. Mr. Combs vehemently denied the allegations. Sean Combs, the producer and music mogul, who has been one of the most famous names in hip-hop for decades, was sued in federal court on Thursday by Cassie, an R&B singer once signed to his label, who accused Mr. Combs of RAPE and of repeated physical abuse over about a decade. In the suit filed in federal district court in Manhattan, Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, who had long been Mr. Combs' romantic partner, says that not long after she met him in 2005 when she was 19, he began a pattern of control and abuse that included plying her with drugs, beating her, and forcing her to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes while he filmed the encounters. In 2018, the suit says near the end of their relationship, Mr. Combs forced his way into her home and RAPED'd her. After years in silence and darkness, Miss Ventura said in a statement, "I'm finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships." In response, a lawyer for Mr. Combs, Ben Braffman, said Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Mrs. Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat. Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday. Douglas Wigdor, a lawyer for Ms. Ventura, said the parties had spoken before the suit was filed. Mr. Combs offered Ms. Ventura 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of this lawsuit, he said. She rejected his efforts. Ms. Ventura's case is the latest in a series of sexual assault civil suits filed recently against prominent men in the music industry, including Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, the executive L.A. Reid, and Neil Portnow. Mr. Portnow has denied the accusation. Mr. Tyler and Mr. Reid have not responded. Mr. Combs, 54, founded Bad Boy in 1993 and became one of the primary figures in the commercialization of hip-hop, working with stars like the Notorious B.I.G. and Mary J. Blige. His net worth has been estimated as high as $1 billion, and last year Forbes calculated Mr. Combs' annual earnings at $90 million, attributing that amount largely to his former partnership in a liquor brand, Ciroc. This is owned by the spirits giant Diageo. Mr. Combs, who is in his career, has variously been known as Puff Daddy, Diddy, and Love, may be the most famous music executive of his generation. But the suit depicts Mr. Combs as a violent person who, beyond repeatedly assaulting Miss Ventura, asked her to carry his gun in her purse, and the suit suggests he was responsible for blowing up the car of a rival suitor. In one incident, the suit says Mr. Combs dangled a friend of Miss Ventura's over a 17th floor hotel balcony. In naming additional defendants, the court papers assert that others who worked with Mr. Combs had helped him to control Miss Ventura, at times by threatening her with retribution, like suppressing her music if she did not obey his orders, or by helping to conceal his bad behavior. The suit, which names Mr. Combs and a number of his associated companies as defendants, seeks unspecified damages. According to Ms. Ventura's suit, she was swept into Mr. Combs' jet-set lifestyle not long after meeting him and signing with Bad Boy, which released her debut album in 2006. But the suit said he soon began to assert an extraordinary level of command over her life. In addition to controlling her career, he paid for her car, apartments, and clothing, and even had access to her personal medical records. According to the suit, the results from an MRI scan she had for memory loss, possibly caused by drug use or by a beating she said she suffered from Mr. Combs, went directly to Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs also provided Ms. Ventura with copious amounts of drugs, including ecstasy and ketamine, and urged her to take them, the suit says, and often became violent, beating her multiple times each year. The suit says Ms. Ventura never went to the police because she feared it would merely give Mr. Combs another excuse to hurt her. In one incident in Los Angeles in 2009, the suit says, Mr. Combs became enraged when he saw Miss Ventura talking to another talent agent, then pushed her into a car and kicked her repeatedly in the face, making her bleed. According to the suit, Mr. Combs then had his staff bring her to a hotel room to recuperate for a week. She has to go home to her parents, but Mr. Combs refused, the suit says. The suit says that after seeing the violent repercussions of rejecting Mr. Combs and the extent to which he would isolate her from her support network, Ms. Ventura felt that saying no to Mr. Combs would cost her something: her family, her friends, her career, or even her life. And though she tried to leave Mr. Combs, the suit says he sent his employees to lure her back. In one incident described in the court papers, Ms. Ventura says that in early 2012, Mr. Combs grew so angry about her dating the rapper Kid Cudi that he said he would blow up the rapper's car. Around that time, the suit says, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. Through a spokeswoman, Kid Cudi confirmed Miss Ventura's account that he had a car that exploded. This is all true, he said. A few years into Miss Ventura's relationship with Mr. Combs, the suit said he began coercing her to engage in a fantasy of his called voyeurism, in which she was directed to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes, while Mr. Combs watched, masturbated, took pictures, and shot video. According to the suit, Mr. Combs called these encounters freak-offs, which involve costumes like masquerade, mask, and lingerie. They continued for years, taking place at high-end hotels across the United States and in Mr. Combs' homes. The suit says that he instructed Ms. Ventura to search websites of escort services to procure male sex workers. Drugs were supplied at these events, which Ms. Ventura's suit said she took because they allowed her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. According to the suit, Ms. Ventura would delete videos from these incidents that had been shot on her phone, but Mr. Combs told her he still had access to those videos, and on a flight once made, he watched her made her watch a video she thought had been deleted. The suit says that as a result of these sexual encounters in different cities, Ms. Ventura was a victim of sex trafficking. The suit also accuses Mr. Combs of sexual battery, sexual assault, and violations of New York City's gender-motivated violence law. Ms. Ventura's suit includes several accounts of her unsuccessful attempts to escape Mr. Combs' control. In one example, the suit says that during a freak-off at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016, an intoxicated Mr. Combs punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. He fell asleep and she tried to leave the room, but Mr. Combs woke up and followed her into the hallway, where he threw glass vases at her, sending glass shattering throughout the corridor, according to the court filing. The hotel security cameras captured the incident, but the suit says Mr. Combs paid the hotel $50,000 for the footage. The court filing says that in 2018, after Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura met for dinner, he forced himself into her apartment and R-worded her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. After that, the suit says she left him for good. Ms. Ventura married Alex Fine, a personal trainer, the following year and now has 2 young children. According to the complaint, her association with Bad Boy ended in 2019. Mrs. Ventura's case, like other recent sexual assault lawsuits, is being brought under the Adult Survivors Act, a New York law that allows people who say they were victims of sexual abuse to file civil suits after the statute of limitation has expired. The 1-year window to bring cases under this law ends next week. That law is cited in Ms. Ventura's complaint, and in a statement she addressed its importance. With the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act fast approaching, she said, it became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life. So, my first question is this what having a high value man is all about? They did say he was worth $1 billion. Is this what Kevin Samuels was talking about? You know, was he missing a few characteristics of these type of high value men? And telling these women that they, you know, didn't have the tools, you know, the bodies, they were too old and all of that for these type of high value men. I guess what he was trying to say, you have to be young, desperate, so that you can be controlled, manipulated. You have to be, you know, youthful to be able to take those punches and blows and kicks to the face. You know, I'm just trying to figure out why he was saying what he was saying. And also, is this the reason why those high value men choose or prefer to date outside of their race? Cause, Starkeisha would have grit balled his butt a long time ago, after that first punch. He would have found his face melting as he slept. Oh, man. And also, is this the reason why all the ambiguous women he dates chooses to never deal with melanated men ever again? Example, Jennifer Lopez, Cassie moved on to Alex Light or whatever his name is. They are not melanated people. Also, I was wondering, why did him and Jennifer Lopez break up back in the day? Exactly. What was the reason? And, according to these court filings, these freak offs that she was talking about do seem very, very, very suspect. So to me, he didn't want her dating anybody else, but wanted her to sleep with multiple random men while he watched and jerked off and recorded it. It's like, what in the fool is going on there? Like, seriously. And I wanted to know if Young Miami is still with him. And if so, is she experiencing the same treatment behind closed doors for that $250,000 a month that he gives her in allowance? Is she going through this type of abuse and, controlled situation? I was just wondering, like, is the money worth it? In the long run, it seems like not so much, but I feel like early on Cassie could have declined or removed herself from Diddy because she still had her family and friends, like she was saying, and the type of money that he was giving her access to, she could have disappeared like some kind of way. But she also did say he did have his employees following her around, but I'm like, even with the last straw, she still left, and he still had those same employees, same, people that was stalking her or whatever. Like, what was the difference with that time and all the rest of the time she tried to leave? So that's the only thing that I question about the whole, why didn't she leave sooner? I think in the beginning she was enjoying the lifestyle, and sometimes when you're that young, some of those girls be having daddy issues, and they think that that's how their man is supposed to treat them and be controlling like that. Maybe that's what she was on, and then soon realized, the older she was getting, like, this ain't it. I don't know. But seems like she could have came forward a long time ago and left the man. But we're about to continue on with more information about this whole case. And this says Sean Diddy Combs and singer Cassie settle lawsuit alleging abuse. And this is from NPR.org. New York. A lawsuit by singer Cassie containing allegations of beatings and abuse by music producer Sean Diddy Combs has been settled. The artist announced Friday, one day after the lawsuit was filed. The settlement was announced in a statement sent by attorney Douglas Wigdor, who represents Cassie, whose full name is Cassandra Ventura. The statement said they had reached a deal to their mutual satisfaction Friday evening, but no terms of the agreement were disclosed and no further statements will be issued beyond those made by Ventura, Combs, and Wigdor in the email distributed by the lawyer. In her statement, Ventura said, "I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support. Combs said, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love." Ben Braffman, an attorney for Combs, did not immediately respond to a message seeking comment. On Thursday, he said in a statement that Combs vehemently denies the allegations. The lawsuit alleged Combs brought the singer into his ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle soon after she met him and signed to his label in 2005 when she was 19 and he was 37. Ventura, now 37, said Combs, now 54, began a pattern of abuse as soon as their on and off relationship began in 2007. The lawsuit alleged that, prone to uncontrollable rage, Combs subjected Ventura to savage beatings in which he punched, kicked, and stomped her. It alleges he plied her with drugs and forced her to have sex with other men while he masturbated and filmed them. According to the lawsuit, as Ventura was trying to end the relationship in 2018, Combs forced her into her Los Angeles home and raped'd her. The Associated Press does not typically name people who say they have been sexually abused unless they come forward publicly, as Ventura has. Combs, among the most influential hip-hop producers and executives of the past 3 decades, the founder of Bad Boy Records and a 3-time Grammy winner, he has worked with a slew of hip-hop top-tier artists including Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, Usher, Lil' Kim, Faith Evans, and 112. This year, he released his 5th studio album, The Love Album, Off the Grid, which earned 2 Grammy nominations this month. It was his first studio album in 17 years. The bad boy of entertainment is getting the key to the city from the bad boys of politics, Mayor Eric Adams said in September as he presented a giant key to Combs in Times Square. Combs was born in New York City and raised in nearby Mount Vernon. Ventura gained fame with the Brian Leslie produced hit single Me and You, which rose to number 1 on the Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs chart in 2016. It was her only studio album. As an actor, she was in several projects including Fox's Empire, Step Up 2, The Streets, and Spencer Confidential. Braffman's statement on Thursday said Ventura had for the past 6 months persistently demanded $30 million while threatening to write a damaging book about her relationship to Combs. The lawyer said the demands were rejected as blatant blackmail. Ventura withdrew the initial threat before filing a lawsuit, riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday, Braffman said. Wigdor responded Thursday in a statement saying Combs had offered her 8 figures to silence her and prevent the lawsuit from being filed. She rejected his efforts and decided to give a voice to all women who suffer in silence, Wigdor said. Wigdor praised his client in a statement included in his email announcing the settlement on Friday. I'm very proud of Ms. Ventura for having the strength to go public with her lawsuit. She ought to be commended for doing so, he said. Well, as quickly as the lawsuit was settled, it seems like P. Diddy was indeed guilty. It seems like Cassie had a lot of evidence. She had receipts. She probably had some of those videos. So, and I'm sure she had some witnesses. But I did find out later on that Cassie not only sued Diddy, but sued every company that he owns. Now, this is just, speculation. There was also no NDA, so she didn't sign anything to not be able to say anything about anything she had been through. And she may have been awarded upwards of $100 million altogether. Because like I said, I heard she sued his companies, his corporations, or whatever he was associated with, as far as Ciroc and all that. So yeah, I'm glad that she's able to get paid for her pain and suffering. And it looks like, she is causing a Me Too movement, because I'm sure if he did all that to her, he probably did it to others. So I'm sure it will be a few more people coming forward. And the fact that he was taking her all around the country to make her sleep with prostitutes and drug her up and all of that, that could be like, sex trafficking. So yeah, it seems like he may be going down. And she did her big one. If she sued his companies, then, because I did hear that he was stepping down from this and stepping down from that, so it seems like she put a stoppage to his bag, and he may not be able to get another bag. So yeah, she had a really good lawyer, and he knew where to hit this man real bad. So yeah, let me know y'all thoughts on this down in the comments, because this was a lot. Now moving on to the next topic, and I do like to come forward and make everyone aware of what type of illnesses are out there, respiratory situations, especially since we just went through the COVID-19. So I'm gonna update you guys once again. So the threat of respiratory illnesses is underway, CDC director says, and hospitalizations are on the rise. And this is from yahoo.com via CNN. And it says Dr. Mandy Cohen, director of U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, updated a congressional subcommittee Thursday about cases of respiratory illnesses in the U.S. due to 3 viruses: flu, COVID-19, and respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV. RSV season is in full swing, Cohen told the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. Flu season is just beginning across most of the country through accelerating fast, and while we're seeing relatively low levels of COVID-19 is still the primary cause of new respiratory hospitalizations and death, with about 15,000 hospitalizations and about 1,000 deaths every single week. She said, "We are seeing a lot of RSV, particularly in the southern part of the country. So we're near peak is what I would say for RSV," Cohen said. "We are also at the beginning of flu season," she said. "We're actually having a pretty, what I would say, typical flu season. We do expect to see a lot more flu cases over the course of December and January. COVID-19 is also rising again and continues to be the biggest threat of the 3, she said. COVID-19 is still the respiratory virus that is putting the most number of folks in the hospital and taking their lives," she said. Cohen added that it remains important for Americans to get jabbed, since there are now vaccines against all 3 of these respiratory illnesses. Should a person get sick, it's also critical to be tested and get treatment, as most antiviral drugs are most effective when given early in an infection. More than a third of adults and children have gotten their flu jab this year, according to the latest data from the CDC, but only about 16% of adults and 6% of children have gotten the new COVID-19 jab. Rates that the CDC has said are lower than it would like to see. About 15% of older adults 60 and up have gotten their new RSV jab. Respiratory virus activity is especially high in the southern and western U.S. Warren County in Ohio said this week that it's experiencing an outbreak of pediatric pneumonia cases, with a large uptick in the number at one time. The pathogens involved include adenovirus, streptococcus pneumoniae, and mycoplasma pneumoniae bacteria that have been linked to a rising number of respiratory infections in China. Mycoplasma commonly causes mild respiratory infections, typically in crowded settings like schools, college residence halls, and long-term care facilities. Respiratory virus season is especially affecting children. In the week ending November 18th, more than 10% of doctor visits among children younger than 5 in the U.S. were for influenza-like illnesses, about 3 times higher than the average for all ages and well above the national baseline, according to data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Pediatric hospital beds are filling up too. About 3/4 of pediatric hospital beds are in use nationwide, federal data shows, and capacity hasn't been this strained since mid-December of 2022. Hospitalizations for respiratory viruses, including Corisha-19, flu, and RSV, have been on the rise for months. Although Corisha-19 represents the vast majority of respiratory virus hospitalizations overall, RSV is the most common culprit among children, with weekly admission rates rising 69% since the first week of October. So yeah, guys, so be on, notice that all of this is going on. I think the cold still exists, even though they didn't say anything about the common cold anymore. But as well as the flu, Corisha-19, and now this RSV. Now, what I think that is surprising about this RSV for me, a few years ago, especially when Robin was younger, RSV was considered to be a respiratory condition that happened to children that was 5 and under. Now it's surprising that older kids are getting it, older adults are getting it, older people are getting RSV. Like, when did this happen? And I also heard one lady on YouTube say she contracted RSV from her baby. So yeah, it's a lot going on. So yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments about this. Make sure you're washing your hands, wearing your mask. Don't go to crowded places. Me personally, if you have to go out, then just go when you know it's not really going to be a lot of people in there, if that helps at all. You know what I'm saying? But you might have to start back putting on your mask, putting on some gloves. Make sure you got your sanitizer on deck, and just stay out of these crowded spaces and all of that. So anyway, moving on to the next topic. And it says, Jussie Smollett loses appeal, heading back to jail, ? And this is from TMZ.com. Jussie Smollett just took a big L in court because his conviction for his hoax attack was just upheld. An Illinois appeals court handed down the ruling Friday, with the 3-judge panel voting 2-1 to uphold Jussie's conviction. According to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, with the ruling, Jussie appears likely to return to a Chicago jail to complete his 150-day sentence. Remember, Jussie was initially convicted in 2022, spending 6 days in Cook County Jail before being released while trying to get his sentence overturned. Now, Jussie's come up empty, but his legal team has the option of appealing this decision to the Illinois Supreme Court, which would then decide on whether to hear the case. During his appeal, Jussie dropped new music, directed a film with Vivica A. Fox, worked out with Taraji P. Henson, went to rehab, and shaved his head. It will be interesting to see if Jussie appeals again or heads back to jail. Stay tuned. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to give y'all the update on Jussie Smollett still trying to get out of his situation. Do I think he needs to serve like 160 days in jail? Not really, but he did have the cops and all of that involved, and but nobody got hurt. So It's whatever. Moving on, we're gonna do this follow up with Keke Palmer and her baby daddy. So yeah, it says Keke Palmer requests to move restraining order hearing with ex Darius Jackson so pair can resolve custody issues privately after explosive abuse claims. And this is from the dailymail.co.uk. She alleged in civil court documents that she suffered physical and emotional abuse at the hands of Darius. According to court documents filed on Thursday in LA, Palmer, 30, and Jackson began discussions the day prior and have agreed to continue. The pair were due to meet in court over the restraining order on December the 5th, but now want the hearing postponed until they resolve their issues in mediation. Keke Palmer has asked to move her restraining order hearing so she and ex-Darius Jackson can resolve their custody issues privately after she accused him of physical and emotional abuse. According to court documents filed on Thursday in Los Angeles, Palmer, 30, and Jackson, 29, began discussions the day prior and have agreed to continue at a mutually agreeable date that has not yet been determined. The pair share son Leotis, 9 months. The pair were due to meet in court over the domestic violence restraining order on December the 5th, but now want the hearing postponed until they've resolved their issues in mediation, per page 6. The court document states the parties agree that all orders in the temporary restraining order issued on November 9, 2023 shall remain in full force and effect until the hearing, with a new court date yet to be determined. DailyMail.com has contacted a representative for Keke over the latest update. Palmer was recently granted a restraining order against Jackson in sole custody of their son. She alleged in civil court documents that she suffered physical and emotional abuse at the hands of Darius. He has denied the allegations. This comes after Palmer's mother, Sharon, alleged she feared for her daughter's life while she was dating Jackson, while speaking about a phone call obtained by TMZ in which Sharon threatened to put a slug in Jackson's head. The 56-year-old high school teacher explained to Radar Online that her comment was made out of concern for Keke, 30. You will hear him being told to leave several times, Sharon told the outlet. The point where I am cussing came in after 2 minutes of him refusing to leave. Sharon also accused Jackson of illegally recording their call, which requires consent in the state of California. The Nope star's mom proceeded to state that Jackson does not care about the law and that most abusers don't care about the law. Sharon went on to allege that Jackson would not leave Keke's home and was not invited in. I fear for her life, Sharon insisted, in text messages obtained by TMZ between Sharon and Jackson's mother, Yenya Hubbard Jackson, who is originally from Panama, texts Sharon. I have tried not to get involved in my son's personal business, but I heard that you are going to put a slug in my son's head. Well, then now we have to involve the authorities because you don't respect or value yourself. I will file a police report on you now, Yenya continued. Sharon allegedly wrote back, please do not contact me with this ridiculous childish behavior. Your son choked his own sister. Deal with his anger issues. If he attacks my daughter in her own home where she pays the bills, he is trespassing and anything can happen. So he should stay away. You should be very ashamed to have raised a man who fights women, she concluded. DailyMail.com has reached out to Keke's representative but have not heard back at this time. Last month, the outlet also reported that Jackson claimed Sharon threatened to put a slug in his head during an altercation with her over speakerphone. TMZ reports Sharon's threat was made after the couple got into an argument over custody of Leo on November the 5th, an incident which was detailed in Keke's restraining order filing. Darius went to pick up his son, Leo, to watch football last month after informing Keke via text message of his plans, but was upset to find their son was not at her home when he arrived. This led to an argument between Keke and Darius, and eventually Sharon was brought into the dispute after Keke called her up. Sharon was placed on speakerphone and allegedly began screaming and saying expletives to Darius. She also allegedly informed Darius she would put a slug in his head, which escalated the altercation. Darius then allegedly tried to grab Kiki's phone from her. Insiders claim this particular tassel was captured in images submitted last week as a part of Kiki's restraining order. The images showed them in the midst of a struggle on a couch. The restraining order also included photos of a separate altercation from February 2022. Insiders say Darius completely denies abusing the actress, and the sources claim police were sent to the home but did not find any probable cause to arrest them for domestic violence. Police also didn't file a report, the source claimed. Insiders add this backs up what Darius has been saying. He is standing by his account and has denied the abuse allegations, according to TMZ. An insider connected to Kiki also spoke with TMZ about the alleged altercation and threat. They claim Darius entered Kiki's home and began swearing at her while she was speaking with her mother on the phone. The source claims Sharon made the slug threat as she feared for her daughter's safety and couldn't be there in person to protect Kiki, writes TMZ. Palmer described the November 5th incident in her filing as well. She alleges the incident occurred after they split up and she was on the phone with her mother. She says she was startled to see her ex enter the bedroom door, according to NBC News. Kiki claims they lived separately and she had not allowed him to come to her place. She alleges Jackson was filming her on his phone and he demanded to see Leo. He refused to leave after she asked him to do so. I tried to remain calm, but as I was again asking him to leave, he stood up from the chair, walked toward me, and made sure there was no furniture between us. He was yelling, leaning into me, getting into my face. At that point, he lunged at me, grabbing at my neck and face, knocked me backwards over the couch, stole my phone out of my hands, and then ran out of the house, she said. Jackson tried driving away, and Palmer tried blocking him by placing garbage cans in his exit. However, while doing so, she claims he nearly hit her with his car. Law enforcement were brought in afterwards, and they told Jackson to leave and warned him not to return after interviewing Kiki, her sister, and her ex. She was encouraged to file a domestic violence restraining order by the officers, according to NBC. According to documents obtained by People last month, the Los Angeles County judge granted a temporary restraining order that states Jackson must stay at least 100 yards away from Palmer and Leotis. Palmer was also granted sole custody of their child. The legal order also encompasses any child care or schooling established for the infant under the TRO. Jackson is not allowed visitation with Leotis, with a hearing set for December 5th to determine the next steps. Security camera footage submitted with the filing captures the alleged November 5th incident and another from February 2022 where Jackson body slammed her onto the stairs by my neck. The incident stemmed from Palmer showing Jackson a photo of her workout results at a friend's party, sending him into a rage, the Star alleges. In response, Jackson posted of him holding his child on X. The caption reads, "I love you, son. See you soon." In the restraining order request, which she filed in Los Angeles, it was noted that the relationship, which began in 2021, finally ended for good in October, primarily due to the physical and emotional abuse inflicted. Palmer alleges that Jackson would also love bomb her during their relationship. The abuse during our relationship was not just physical, but emotional and manipulative, she said. Darius would love bomb me and make me feel like I was the most important woman in the world, only to get extremely distant and cold over a perceived insult to him. If we were at a party or event and I spoke to one person too long or looked at someone a certain way, he would storm off in a rage, telling me I was a slut and a whore, accused me of cheating on him and that I did not love him. Darius had a way of gaslighting me to make me feel I was doing something wrong even though I wasn't, she wrote in documents. Palmer alleges there have been many instances of physical violence with Jackson, including him hitting her in front of their son. In April 2022, Palmer said that she was out for dinner with Jackson in Santa Barbara when he accused her of flirting with the woman, forcing them to come home early. Darius grabbed my prescription eyeglasses away from me, threw them on the ground, and stomped on them. He then opened my bag, threw all of my belongings onto the pavement in the rain, and threw my car keys across the parking lot before he got into his own car and drove off, she alleges. Other incidents listed by Palmer reportedly involved him destroying personal property, including diaries and prescription eyeglasses, as well as throwing Kiki's belongings into the street. She also accused him of throwing my car keys to prevent me from driving away, spewing profanities about me to our son, threatening to unalive himself with the GUN if I left him, harassment, and other physical and emotional abuse. In her filing, Kiki also expressed being concerned for Leo's safety due to prior incidents. She claimed that on September 26, 2023, Darius became very frustrated with him when Leo was crying while Darius changed his diaper. Palmer explained that her former partner started getting rough with Leo physically, and I stepped in to make sure Darius would not hurt him. She continued, Darius was angry and it almost became a tug of war with Leo. Darius finally let go and Leo was not harmed, but as I was holding Leo trying to comfort him and finish changing his diaper, Darius hit me in the head before storming out of the room. Kiki also shared incidents of emotional abuse, writing, if we were at a party or event and I spoke with one person too long or looked at someone a certain way, he would storm off in a rage, telling me I was a slut or a whore, accused me of cheating on him and that I did not love him. Kiki revealed it was the birth of their son that helped her make the decision to end their relationship. It was because of our son, Leo, that I was finally able to end my relationship with Darius once and for all and escape the abuse. Leo is the most important thing in the entire world to me. He needs and deserves to be safe and grow up in an environment free from violence, she wrote. This comes after Palmer's mother broke her silence after the actress accused her ex, Jackson, of repeated physical and emotional abuse and claimed she told his brother, Serranus, he was abusive one year ago. Palmer's mother, Sharon, took to Instagram on Thursday to share a video message slamming his brother Serranus for branding Jackson a disgusting, vile, abusive, manipulative person in a now deleted tweet. Sharon said for Serranus Jackson to post on his Twitter the ridiculous stuff he posted when he knew his brother was abusive. I went to Serranus over a year ago and told him that his brother was abusive to my daughter. And he said, well, I used to be like that too. So now he's posting on Twitter like he's this special guy when he knows he's the biggest F boy and you're a part of the problem. The video was captioned, I dare you, mess with my family. Family means everything to me. You and your family act like sociopaths and like the world can't see it. You are phony and I saw you from day one. My daughter is kind and our family treated you with kindness and this is how you treat it. I won't take this laying down anymore. I'm done. DailyMail.com has contacted Serranus Jackson's representatives for comment. Serranus' deleted tweet last month read, the most disgusting, vile, abusive, manipulative person I have ever encountered in my entire life. Abuses almost everyone. Y'all will see, just send positive energy to the babies. Any child in the middle of something like this does not deserve it at all. Wow, so damn sad. Kiki and Darius' relationship hit a rough patch when he went viral for tweeting his disapproval of a tight sheer thong bodysuit dress she wore to attend Usher's Las Vegas residency in July. At the time, he wrote online, It's the outfit though, you a mom. When fans came to Palmer's defense, Jackson doubled down as he fired off a second tweet defending himself. We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and gets told how much of a hater he is. He said, "This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case," he added. Meanwhile, Palmer did not address the situation explicitly, but appeared on Instagram to share outtakes from the evening and tell fans she wished she had taken more photos. Usher later commented on the post, writing, "The big boss, thank you for coming." Following the incident, the pair unfollowed each other on Instagram, but they later celebrated Palmer's birthday together in August. In an episode of her podcast, Baby, This Is Kiki, Palmer, that was recorded before the drama, Darius admitted to having high standards for his romantic partners. In the clip shared 1 week after the couple made headlines, Palmer asked Jackson how he felt when they decided to go public with their romance. The fitness instructor revealed he felt pressure to be perfect and confessed to holding Kiki to the same standard of perfection. "You almost feel that pressure of needing to be perfect," Jackson answered. "And so it really confused me and infuriated my mind, because not only did I have to hold myself to their perfect standard, I was also holding you to a perfect standard as well," he added. Although fans have speculated that Kiki and Darius may have broken up either before or immediately after the wardrobe drama, neither party has confirmed their current relationship status. In August, Jackson posted a short video clip of Palmer snuggling with their son on social media. Happy birthday to a one-of-a-kind being. Hope your 30s bring you many joys and triumphs," he wrote. When Kiki stopped by the Today Show in September, Hoda Kotb and Jenna Bush Hager pressed her about her relationship. "You know, I'm going to take a page out of my girl Beyonce's book. Mind y'all's business," Palmer told the host. Wow. It's the men making women a punching bag for me. And then it's the women just laying down, taking it. It's like, first of all, get some self-defense. Take some self-defense classes. Buy you a taser. Get you a baseball bat. Cook some grits. Some piping hot grits, if you catch my drift. Use a hammer to the knees while that ninja sleep. Hammer to the kneecaps. That'll get some act right. You know what I'm saying? But also, where are these girls' daddies at? Where they uncles at? Brothers, boy cousins? And ain't Kiki from Chicago? Girl, you from Chi-Town. I know you got some goons and goblins in your family that can handle baby daddy right quick. But yeah, women don't have to take that. And it's first of all, the first signs of abuse, you need to run. You know what I'm saying? Stop being colorblind to these red flags and run. Or fight back. If you're going to stay with them, learn how to box that ninja back. But yeah, this is sad. But anyway, let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. And then also, it's her mother coming forward, which is another woman to take up for the daughter. Where is the daddy at? Where the brothers at? Where the boy cousins at? Where the uncles at? But yeah. Anyway, moving on. So it says T.I. addresses altercation with son King. F what this internet talking about. And this is from Vibe.com. T.I. has addressed the viral altercation with his son King on Tuesday, November 28th. The Atlanta rapper took to Instagram to speak out against people ridiculing his family's dynamic. He also asserted that he loves his children, including Junior, and nothing gonna change that. F what this internet talking about. The family tied like a knot, he typed. We all we got for life. I'ma ride to the heavens or the depths of hell about my junior. And ain't nothing gonna change that. Now tune into the new episode of hashtag Goat Talk with me and my junior at the_next_king10 out now on @complex. The altercation in question happened on Sunday, November the 26th during the Atlanta Falcons exhibition against the New Orleans Saints. King and Tip began arguing over the former's silver spoon childhood. King, have you ever woke up with a roach on your face? The urban legend MC said. Alright, then you don't know what you talking about. King shot back asking his father and his mother, Tiny, if they wanted to see a bando in his neighborhood. He then accused Tip of lying to impress his fans. Do y'all want to go to the bando in my neighborhood? He questioned. To make him look better, he say-ish that he know not true. Silver spoon, I ain't never ate with that a day in my life. Things became heated when the aspiring rapper was placed in a headlock by his father. Get off me, ninja, King shouted. T.I. responded to his plea, declaring, you can't do nothing with me. There ain't ish you can do with me. Following the spat, King took to IG in a series of now deleted posts to address his father. He accused him again of faking an image and for the internet's approval. I stand on business. Don't give a F who you are. IDGAF, who you are. MF can't play with me in my face, not going for the I'm a grown man now, he wrote. If I'm a mistake, say that. Stop making the world think you F with me when you don't. Ninja be faking an image for the internet and it ain't me. So my whole thing with this, like, why is this even a thing? You know, it's like, as much as Tiny and T.I. have been in the news, as much as T.I. has gone to jail and been, you know, in trouble, it's like, what can you expect? But at the end of the day, these are their children. And just like the boy said, he is grown now. So to me, that was man to man, whatever kind of altercation that they had. But clearly, he doesn't have any respect for his mother or his father. Doing all that cussing and carrying on for social media. And they should keep family business private. Whatever they're going through. Because it has nothing to do with anybody else. So T.I. and Tiny have raised their kids the way that they want to raise them. They can discipline them the way that they want to discipline them. So it just is what it is. But clearly the boy has no respect for his parents for whatever reason. But I don't know why this is news. You know, it's not news to me. I don't think we really need to be, you know, trying to give this any more attention than it already has gotten, because it's not our business. But anyway, let me know y'all thoughts on that whole situation, or not, you know. But yeah, and next to the last topic. This is about Marlon Wayans speaks on adjusting to his eldest son's transition. I just want my kids to be free. And this is from Vibe.com as well. Marlon Wayans is getting candid about his reaction to his son Kai's transition. During his recent appearance on the Breakfast Club, the comedian explained, I have a daughter that transitioned into a son. My daughter, Amai, is now Kai. In his forthcoming stand-up special, Wayans will open up about transition, but not just Kai's, also his as a father. I talk about the transition, not her, his, their transition, but my transition as a parent, going from ignorance and denial to complete unconditional love and acceptance, said the 51-year-old. Admittedly, news of Kai's transition was painful initially, but Wayans is committed to correcting himself when it comes to Kai's pronouns. They see me trying and that I'm happy. it's just F's me up when I say they. I'm like, there's two of you, but I gotta respect their wishes, he joked. But ultimately, the respect actor just wants his children to be free. I want them to be free in spirit, free in thought, free to be themselves. The more you know yourself, the more you can govern yourself. The more you live your truth, the happier your existence. So if they can't get that in the household with their father and their mother, who the F do I send them out into the world with that kind of confidence? So if they can't get that in the household with their father and their mother, how the F do I send them out into the world with that kind of confidence? And I'm just so proud of them for being them. But that don't mean that they ain't got jokes. Kai is aware of the comedy special, which will either be named Skittles or Rainbow Child. After having performed it recently, Wayans shared that he wanted to set the precedence because it's important to him. What's important to me, comedy. What's important to me, my children, whom I love. And what's important is change, stated the Requiem for a Dream star. And so all you world leaders that's having this summit, I want you to think about these people and this synopsis, and now to be inclusive of this next generation, because I see a lot of gray hair here. But these kids that we're dealing with, they're different, and we can't have our old ways and expect to do new things. So yeah, I was just surprised to know that he actually had a trans child. That was my first time hearing about that. I think I would like to see that stand-up special just to see what his experience was or what it's like, because I couldn't imagine. I've never thought about that, but I could not imagine, what type of experience that is. So just for that, I would like to see, what he has to say. You never know what may happen, or the who's, when, where, why. So it's possible that it could happen. If it's not your children, it could be nieces or nephews or, whatever like that. So yeah, let me know y'all thoughts. And did y'all know that he had a daughter that transitioned to a son? And have you all experienced anything like that with your own children or family members? And what was that experience like? So yeah, anywho, finally, we have come to the end of this chat session. I hope you have been inspired, informed, or entertained. Be sure to check out our other platforms that are listed on the description of our channel's homepage. Now, I was saying on the About page, but YouTube has made some changes. So just look for the description on our channel homepage, and you'll be able to find all the links to our other platforms and social medias and all of that. Make sure that you click the notification bell to be notified of our future chat sessions. Share our podcast with a friend of a friend. And with that being said, thanks so much for your time and support. I look forward to the next session. Peace and love. And as always, be blissful. Peace.
DJ Mike C on the track.
Cause that be natural. Lady D. Looking tacky. I keep my game tactful.
Yo,
Yeah, I'm so nappy. Cause that be natural.
the infamous.
Ain't looking tacky. Cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fabu, I'm so natural, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Y'all is children on that cartoon, and I'm still on top of these buffoons. I'm so natural, I'm I'm so nappy. All these dudes that wanna get at me, I'm so cultured and I'm happy. Jealous witches wanna combat me, cause I'm comfortable in my skin. End of the day, you lose, I win. I'm so profitable in my ends. Don't care if I make or lose a few friends, and I look like $1 trillion. Lady, we won a lotto, cause in the Lord I trust. And beauty is the motto. Naturally thick in the bud, I'm Billy Blanks on the Tabo. Edges a little rough, just pretend I'm from Morocco. Organ all up in my hair, cause I let my locks grow naturally. My curls popping everywhere, I'm maximizing on this natural thing. Like it or not, I don't care. You clowns ain't about to worry me, cause I does this for myself, and I'm repping for my ancestry.
Yeah, cause that be natural. Ain't